Good day to everybody. We are meeting again through Ranavir Associates YouTube channel Tax Talk to discuss the recent tax changes and the proposed tax changes. To facilitate my discussion, I have opened a PowerPoint presentation which I have prepared covering the budget 2023 as well as the tax proposals given in interim budget 2022. First of all, we will see few highlights of 2023 government budget. The government has estimated rupees 3,415,000 total revenue for the year. Now, when we compare this with the previous years, in 2021 it was 1,464 billion, then 2022 2,094 billion, in 2023 estimate is 3,415 billion. It's a sharp increase, whether it is practical. Then if you'll see the composition of this, the tax revenue 3,130 billion, which is an increase from 2021. It was 1,298, then the 2022 1,852. Now we are estimating 3,130 billion rupees. Is it practical? Can the general public afford to pay these taxes? The other thing, whether it is practical now for a country's development, ultimately what is most important is the increase in gross domestic production. Without gross domestic production increase, you can't expect a development of a country. Right. Then we'll see about the expenditure side. Now in 2021, expenditure was 3,522 billion. Then 22, 4,427 billion. 2023, 5,819 billion. Now in this, when we take the revenue expenditure, there's a sharp increase. Now everybody are in a difficult situation. When general public is controlling their expenses as much as possible, why can't the government do that? Right, that's a question. Then what about the deficit of the budget? Budget deficit 2,404,000. How to manage this deficit? The managing way they have given: borrowing from local market 560 billion, borrowing from overseas 1,844 billion. Now, local market, whether our banking system is in a position to finance this much of funds during the year 2023? It's a question. Then, when we have a debt restructuring situation, can we be able to obtain 1,844 billion rupee financial assistance from other countries? It's a question. Now, to facilitate my presentation, I have given a small index. We'll move to the next slide. Now, first of all, we'll see what has happened to the budget proposals given in interim budget 2022. The tax proposals given in interim budget 2022. Now, certain proposals have already legalized by way of gazette notifications and passing acts. Certain things are not yet materialized because they couldn't get past this legislation. Arising from the budget 2022, the following proposals are already legalized. What are the things? In the case of VAT, the financial sector VAT has increased from 15% to 18% with effect from 1st January 22. Then in the leisure sector, they had 0%, and the other sector there was 8%, They increased to 12% with effect from 1st June 2022. Again, increased to 15% with effect from 1st September 2022. Then, introduction of Social Security Contribution Levy. It is introduced with effect from 1st October 2022 at the rate of 2.5%. The turnover threshold for future registration is 30 million per quarter. Then we'll discuss about the other things. Now, as I mentioned, most of the other tax proposals are pending legislation. However, today, the 17th November, up to now, the Supreme Court has already granted the clearance for the VAT bill as well as for the Inland Revenue bill. As a result, during next 2 weeks time period, most probably the government will legalize these two laws. Right. Now, what are the other proposals which are pending legalization? We'll just run through it. Reduction of VAT threshold from 300 million to 80 million. Then removal of VAT exemption on residential condominium apartments. Removal of exemption. Then reduction of individual tax-free personal allowance from 3 million to 1.2 million. Then reduction of individual tax slabs of 3 million to 0.5 million. Then removal of individual expenditure relief of 1.2 million. Then replacement of individuals' IT rates of 6%, 12%, 18% with 6%, 12%, 18%, 24%, 30% and 36%. Then abolition corporate IT rates of 14%, 18% and 24% and replacing with 30%. Then treating corporate investment capital gains as a business income and taxing at their standard tax rates, maybe 30% or maybe even 40%, depending on the nature of the business. Then cancellation of several income tax exemptions. Then removal of special tax concessions granted for companies that listed in Colombo Stock Exchange during the year 2021. What is the tax concession? It is 50% of its 50% of its tax amount. Then reintroduction of withholding taxes. Reintroduction of the withholding tax. Then the tax exemptions. Now we'll move to 2023 budget proposals. Now we'll see the tax highlights of that in a summary form. First, we'll see the income tax proposals. Income tax exemptions. Now they are proposing to grant an income tax exemption to non-resident persons, maybe individual or maybe corporate bodies, no problem. Any non-resident person who involved with government projects of Sri Lanka which are 100% financed by foreign grants. Then public sector employees. The public sector employees are liable to tax, but unfortunately, majority of these taxes are paying, majority of the places employers are bearing this cost. Therefore, now it is proposed from 1st January 2023, these taxes to be borne by the employees. Then tax administration. Now at present, when we lodge a review for request against an assessment, that is an appeal against an assessment, there's no time period given in the Act for the Commissioner General to give his decision. That weakness is there in the existing law. Therefore, it is proposed to fix that time period as 2 years. Right. If within 2 years this decision is not given by the Commissioner General, not given, then it is assumed or deemed to have been allowed. Then measure to discourage cash transactions and promote more and more bank and card transactions. Like in India, these type of limitations are there. Then introduction of a charter covering taxpayers' rights and obligations. That's good. Then introduction of a presidential commission for taxation. Then mandatory e-filing of all IT returns. Then introduction of KPIs based on revenue collection for the revenue collection government entities. Then publishing of list of active tax VAT registered persons. Then tax audit and verification program. That's good. Then with relate to the dividends under the income tax, now there's a period from 1st of October 2022 to 1st of December 2022. Now as per the Supreme Court determination, for individual taxes, tax changes will be effective from 1st of December 2022. Whereas all corporate bodies taxes changes will effect from 1st October 2022. Now in this case, during this time period, if it is from 1st October 2022 to 1st December 2022, if there are any dividends declared where a non-resident person received the dividend, then it is to be made exempted. Then if the shareholder is a resident person, then should pay a maximum tax rate of 15% on that. Then it may be maximum or may be final, but we have to wait for the law. Then dividends paid out of the dividend received is to be exempted from tax, because once the tax has already been paid. Then broadening the tax base. Yeah, that is a good proposal. Definitely we have increased our tax rate, the tax base. That is by voluntarily strengthening the laws and audit and verification tasks. Yeah. Next we'll move to VAT. VAT rationalization of certain exemptions with effect from 1st April 2023. That means they are proposing to remove certain VAT exemptions. Then introducing of a VAT consolidated act. That's good because there are so many amendments. As a result, there has to be a consolidated act. Then with related to the Social Security Contribution Levy Act, they are proposing 4 new exemptions. 1, the importation of motor vehicles where we are paying excise duty. Then commercial hub operations. Then equipment used by differently able persons. Then the pharmaceutical products. Then we'll move to Tax Appeal Commission with relate to the Tax Appeal Commission amendments. Now, when we are appealing to the Tax Appeal Commission, we have to pay at present 2,500 rupees as a fee. That is proposed to increase to 15,000 rupees. Then when we appeal from either party appealing from Tax Appeal Commission to the appeal courts, there's a fee of 1,500 rupees. Now they are proposing to increase that to 10,000 rupees. Then extending the required bank guarantee validity. At present, as per the law, 270 days is the requirement. Now that is to be extended until the appeal is determined. By seeing these fee increases, it is discouraging people to appeal to the next levels. Discouraging. Now we'll see surcharge tax. Now they are proposing to introduce a special surcharge tax on the diesel, petrol and crude oil importation. Then betting and gaming levy, also they are proposing some improvement, that is to change the definition of bookmaker, mainly to cover everybody who are doing negotiating bets on all types of sports events, including online betting, mainly to cover the online betting, the business people in that. Then introduction of a licensing mechanism and a fee for all these bookmakers. That's good. Then casino business also, they are proposing something to strengthen the online casinos. Expanding the definition of casino to include online gaming casino. Then introduction of regulatory and licensing requirement and a system to cover these online casinos operating in Sri Lanka. Then import taxes. Now, as you know, there's a system of fixed rate import duty on especially these small items on unit based duty. That is, they are proposing to increase that. Then implementing, this is a new HS code 2022 into our Sri Lanka systems. Then revising the current duty bands. Now at present, import duty, there are three band systems, 0%, 10% and 15%. They are proposing to increase that to 0, 15 and 20, little bit increase. Then Finance Act. They are proposing to consolidate the commercial hub operations also into the Finance Act. That's a good sign. Then they are proposing to include the bunkering services into the commercial hub operations. Then they are proposing to grant of SDB tax benefits, Strategic Development Project Act tax benefits to these identified commercial hub operations. Then at the same time, they are proposing to revise the government fees and charges. Revise in the sense, if there's any fees or charges which are not revised during last 3 years, that is 2021 and 22, it is proposed to increase by 20%. I think that's all with relate to 2023 budget as well as outstanding matters with relate to 2022 interim budget. Then we will meet again through another video of Ranavir Associates Tax Talk. Meanwhile, if you need any further clarification, you are welcome to connect with us through the medias what we have quoted in our document. Thank you.